Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We've been waiting for the Fantastic Four trailer to be released since its announcement, and it's finally here. With that being said, I will be breaking down everything we got within this trailer. So let's jump right into it. The trailer starts off with Reed and Sue giving a tour of the Baxter Building. Right away, you can already see the feel of the 1960s retro aesthetic with the set design, costumes, and even how the trailer starts off in a 4:3 aspect ratio. It's giving off an old TV show vibe that can be a connection within the Jetsons, and also for the fact that they are really famous in their universe, which gives off the impression that they are showing their world how they live. We can also make the connection on, even though this is taking place on another timeline, this timeline is very important as Doctor Strange made a reference to the Fantastic Four in the 60s in Multiverse of Madness.
Fantastic Four. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
Reed talks about how they have a family dinner every Sunday, as this shows how close they all are and they aren't just a superhero team. The next scene shows one of their family dinners as Ben, as the Thing, is helping Herbie cook. I have to say that I love the design for the Thing. It was what I was most looking forward to within the trailer, as the original Fantastic Four was all makeup and prosthetics, and then the reboot version was a giant CGI monster that didn't give him personality or make him feel like he is still a man underneath the rock-hard skin. But I think this version of the Thing combines the past two perfectly. He is fully CGI, but also keeping him to a man-like structure, similar to the original Fantastic Four Thing, except he looks like an actual rock instead of just makeup and prosthetics. I also love the eyebrow design that they gave him, like how he was originally drawn in the comics. Even though there's a really sad story behind the Thing's origin, he seems to still have a fun-loving personality as he is enjoying making dinner. Also, with Ben's co-chef Herbie the Robot, who was originally created by the Xandarians to help track down Galactus, which we all know is a villain in this movie. The next couple shots, you see Reed drawing up equations on a chalkboard in almost sort of a rush, assuming this might be a scene from towards the end of the movie where the threat is already established and he is trying to figure out a solution. And what it looks like he's drawing on the chalkboard is a wormhole, which could possibly be him figuring out how to travel throughout the multiverse. This is important because they obviously aren't on the main MCU timeline, and they probably have something happen to their world and they make their way into the MCU timeline to help save it. This movie seems like it will play a huge role in Secret Wars, especially if Reed finds a scientific way to travel throughout the multiverse instead of just through magic powers like America Chavez has in Multiverse of Madness. Following his work on potentially the multiverse, he talks to Sue in bed about their first time they went up to space, which it seems like this is the night before they are going on another mission the following day, which could be a mission of the multiverse, as the way to travel could be somewhere up in space. While he's having this talk with Sue about their space trip, they are talking about how they got their powers. That's when we get a scene showing Ben's depression from his transformation as he is walking all alone at night with a trench coat and hat to hide his form from the public. He is watching an old clip of them on TV, reminiscing his old human form, and even giving a foreshadowing of his transformation as he talks about how good looking he is. In that clip, Reed says Ben is the best pilot, which shows their close friendship that they have together. I love the next part where they show Johnny using his powers for the first time. It seems like they rooted back to the original Fantastic Four movies on how Johnny can control his powers and doesn't need a special suit so he isn't constantly on fire. But you see how he just burns right through his normal clothes on the takeoff. Probably my favorite line throughout this trailer is when Sue says that Ben has always been a rock. This is great because that makes it seem like he's the glue to this group and he's always there for emotional support and helping everyone out throughout their day with their problems. That means everyone is comfortable and he's empathetic and they feel like they could always go to him. This is important as now he is the one that will presumably need the most emotional support as his normal human life has been destroyed. This can also hint at a secret love that Ben always had for Sue, but I don't think this version will really dive that deep into that storyline. We get a short clip showing off Johnny's personality as he's just being a goofball, which seems like it's the day before their trip to space, before they got their powers. And that's followed up by Johnny exploring the depth of his powers as he flies into space. I think the way they show off Sue's powers with the CGI looks really cool. It always seems like a tricky thing on how to show someone is invisible in showing the force fields. But it looks like a lot of her powers does revolve around bending light to help her with her invisible appearance, as you can see a sort of rainbow light leak effect that you get through camera lenses when she uses her powers. The first scene of destruction seems to be happening at some sort of formal event, as Ben is wearing a shirt and tie, but it doesn't look like anybody else is as dressed up as he is. As that's happening, a couple kids look up at the destruction while wearing the Thing masks. This shows how Ben isn't feared by the world, and he seems to be loved. Then we just get a couple of cool action shots like the Fantastic Car, Johnny flying, and Ben running. We get a quick shot showing John Malkovich as the Red Ghost. The Red Ghost is a supervillain, formerly a Russian scientist, who is doing research to try and replicate what gave the Fantastic Four their powers while also enhancing the effects. The Red Ghost, also known as Ivan, was able to gain the ability of being intangible while having his crew of 3 apes also gaining abilities, making them super apes. Something that could play into this movie along with the multiverse is how an attack on the Thing by the Red Ghost caught the attention of the Watcher, who we've seen in What If. I don't really think bringing the Watcher into this film is something they will do, just as they probably want to keep the conflict between the Red Ghost and the Fantastic Four, and how the Watcher isn't supposed to interfere. Next, we get a really amazing shot of Galactus towering over the city of Manhattan. And he looks so good with his comic accurate look instead of just a giant space cloud. The only thing is that New York in that shot looks like a modern day New York and not a retro 1960s aesthetic like the rest of the film is. So not sure if that scene takes place on their world or not. The final scene is all of them suited up together, which looks like is when they are presented to the world for the first time on some sort of televised event, introducing them as a superhero team. Well, that is all we got out of this first trailer. I thought it was pretty epic, so make sure you comment down below with your thoughts about this trailer and what you're looking forward to seeing the most out of this movie.